Shalom, family. What's up, brothers and sisters? Hope y'all are having a good Sunday. I was sitting here thinking, and I'm going to speak on something that's going to make some people probably uncomfortable, but I think it needs to be known. And I'm speaking to my fellow sisters in Christ. Or, let's see, how can I start this off? The book of Judges speaks of Deborah. We all know who Deborah was. What makes her so cool to me is the fact that she was a leader of Israel. Her name in Hebrew means honeybee, and my name means honeybee as well. So I have found her to be very interesting. But a lot of people in the church, in today's church, do not understand that even though the Lord chose her to lead Israel in that time, and the reason for that, family and friends, is because there was no leading men of faith in Israel at that moment. And she basically had to motivate men to be men of God and to fight against the oppressing armies. Barak, if you read in, she knew her places when it came to a woman. She knew her place and she respected God. But God used her, number one, for the fact she was a leader, yes. But the thing about it is she was a mother. She was a wife. She submitted to her husband. A lot of women nowadays don't understand what it means to submit to a man or to have a man over their head. There's the father, there's the son, there's man, there's woman. Woman, we come from the rib. We are all created equal, yes, in God's eyes. But you need to understand your role as a woman. See, Deborah, even though she was a leader of Israel, she understood her role. She knew that she couldn't go to battle. But she knew she could go with Barak and motivate him and push him to, overtake and conquer this army. And she also never spoke to Barak in public. She took him in private. There again, having spiritual authority over a man. I wish more women would read into that. I know I'm not going to call this woman out because I respect her. I love her very much. She calls herself a believer, and I believe she is, but I also believe she's very ignorant to the gospel. And she got kind of offended, because I said a lot of women nowadays, especially with the New Age feminist group that you got going on, they don't want to hear nothing about submitting to man, much less submitting to authority of God. But remember in 1 Timothy chapter 2, 13 through 14, Adam was formed first, then Eve, and Adam was not deceived, but the woman was deceived and became a transgressor. Women, we're to encourage to teach other women, and you can read more about that in Titus 2, 3 through 5. The Bible doesn't restrict women from teaching children either. The only activity women are restricted from is teaching or having spiritual authority over men. And I see this often. I had to correct a woman on YouTube earlier. She was going up against one of my brothers, and she was speaking on the book of Enoch. Basically, it's obvious that she doesn't know and has not seeked or studied Enoch. She doesn't understand that these books were taken out of the Holy Bible. She was just basically attacking my brother. And I had to correct her, which of course I didn't get nothing back, and I won't from these people like this. But they are to humble themselves, and a lot of them won't get humbled. They'll get mad at you. But she did not understand what she was doing in that moment was not pleasing God. She doesn't have any spiritual authority over my brother, especially when he's speaking sound doctrine. And she obviously lacks discernment and lacks the knowledge to go seeking for more truth. But, a lot of women, Deborah was a woman of influence. God prompted Barak to action through Deborah. He used Deborah as a vessel. But he was a mighty warrior, and he overcame that army, that oppressive, cruel army. but it was because of her. She was the only one in that period of Israel that had the faith, and God knew that. So he used a woman. Now, is he always going to use a woman to run a nation? No. Look what Jezebel did. You can read about that in the book of Isaiah. You know, just because, I mean, all of us, of course, we'd love to see a woman president. We would love to see women leaders. But number one, they have to be a woman of God, and they have to be led by God and chose by God. If they're not, then a nation will fall because of that person, because of that woman. And I'm going to teach my daughter, sound doctrine. We're taught that a woman is not permitted to teach. So all these women, Joyce Myers, I mean, I can name a few of them, they don't understand the heresy and the things that they're teaching. They're leading people astray. When I read these things, did it make me feel some type of way? Of course it did at first, because I was reading it in my flesh. I wasn't trying to read it in the spirit. And I didn't understand how God started out, the Father, the Son, the man. I didn't understand the whole aspect of us coming from the rib and what is our duty as a biblical woman, how we should live, how we should carry